Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Let's wait a minute and then we can start. All right. Thanks for attending this webinar. We have a lot to cover, so let's start quickly. So today we will cover many new features of Robomotion. Most of the features are around the bot console and application robots we will learn today. And we will learn some of the parallel processing improvements in Robomotion. So let's dive into the flows. So as you know, our community has many non-technical users. So many of the users are not coders. So we try to reduce the requirements for JavaScript. We try to minimize the JavaScript requirements, and that is the function mode. So what we do in the latest releases, we have added new packages to reduce the JavaScript usage. So we provide new ways to do these string number and object manipulations without using the function mode. So let's open our first flow. Yeah, so we have introduced 5 new packages: string, number, object, array, and boolean. These are JavaScript primitive types. Before these packages, we were using the function mode as here. So in this flow, we will demonstrate a way to increment a counter with the function mode and also without coding by using the number package and the increment node here. So in this flow, this is a very simple flow. We have a counter and its default value is 0. So previously we were only be able to increment this value by using the function node, and this may be complicated for non-technical users especially. So what we had to do was use these global functions, global.get, and give the variable name counter, get that value, increment it, and then set that value again to the variable. So let's first run this and see how it works. Very simple flow. So the default value was 0, and we incremented it by 1. And we see the debug value here. Now we will delete this and remove the function node, and we will use the number package that is actually here. It has some nodes that you can use on the variable. So increment node is very simple. You just give the input variable. It can be a variable or even a message object. You write the increment value and you write the output results to the same value. You can also increment the counter and write the results somewhere else. This is very simple, but let's see how this works. So without using the function node, we did the same thing with our number package. So we have more packages like the string package. It has many nodes. All here you can do these operations also in a function node, but these may come handy in some situations. We will use this also in this webinar. You can do many things: trim spaces, split string, we will also use some of these nodes. So let's continue. The JavaScript scope. This is a feature I like to use a lot. So let's open the example. Not this one. Let's open it from the Flow Designer. One, two. My name is Bond. Yeah, this is the example. So in this example, we have an input box. It asks our name and writes the output to message name. And what we want to do here in this flow is we want to welcome the user with her name or his name. So in order to do this, we use a function node. This is just one line. We had to create this message text variable with double quotes. We are creating a string here, adding the variable message name that we get from the input box. Let's run this and see how it works. What's your name? Welcome, Mr. Bond. How may I help you? Now we can remove this function node because we only have one line of code here. Instead, we have a new way to do this. Let's get this string value first and then delete this. And we can connect these two. So this is a message box. The message box previously was taking the message text variable here. Now we have a new scope, JavaScript scope. Here you can write JavaScript expressions. So for one line of code, you don't need to use a function node. We will use a new feature introduced in, not new, but 2015 in JavaScript, ECMA 6. This is template literals. It is called, instead of using double quotes, you can use backticks. And you don't need to use plus signs to combine these strings. You can just use a dollar and curly braces and create just one string between these backticks. So with this, you have created the same flow as before, but without using the function node. Welcome, Mr. Bond. How may I help you? It will create. Now there is no function node here. We are using the JS scope. Let's run this again. Yeah, as you can see, we created the same result with JavaScript scope. You can even write JavaScript code here. For example, you can continue writing like this. It will also add the timestamp of the day. But this is how JavaScript scope works. Let's continue. The for each index we have introduced in the latest version of the robot. This was asked in the community a lot. You can iterate an array object, but you don't know where you are at the time. You don't have the index at the time. So we have added an index variable here. So if you leave this empty, it won't complain. But if you add an index here, you can see which index you are just executing right now in the array. Now this is a very, again, a simple flow. We create an Excel file, non-existing Excel file. We use set cell value here. For A1, we name it name, and for B1 cell, we write symbol. For C1 cell, we write price, and we style these with bold, with the set style node here. And we do a HTTP request to this URL. We will share all these flows with you so you can examine later. You can test these flows also in your workspace. So in for each, we need to provide the array. We provide the array that is returned from this. That is returned from this URL, and then what we do here is we set one by one the values returned from the URL. So we will get Bitcoin prices, Ethereum prices, and we will create an Excel file. As you can see, I have used a JavaScript scope here as well. So there is no function node here. And what we do here is the message index starts from 0, as in all programming languages. So we have to add 2 because we have A1 as the header. So we have to start from A2, but index starts from 0. So we add +2 to write to this cell. And let's run this. And it returned the result from the request, and it is now writing the Excel. Let's check the Excel file now that is created here. As you can see, without using a function node, we use JavaScript scope and the index provided by the for each. We use the index. Before this, you had to keep a counter and use that counter to create cell A2 like B2 to write the value there. So let's continue. Yeah, this explains the JavaScript scope again. This was introduced. You can visit this URL for more details. This is called template literals. Instead of double quotes, we use backticks. And between these backticks, you can use variables or code. And without using double quotes and pluses, you can create just one complete string here. So a couple of tips here. We have also recently added debug logs. In Robomotion, if the debug logs extends 4 kilobytes, you can't read the JSON object from here. We crop that. So to read that, you can use debug node. Let's create an example to see that. I haven't prepared one for this. Debug here. Or maybe we can use the for each example again and put a debug somewhere here. For example, let's see the results of this request. That would be better. So here, from the right side, if you select System Console, you will see the outputs of this debug in command prompt on Windows or terminal on Mac and Linux. So let's connect the robot, for example, here. And now we will use this robot. Because we have selected System Console, let's run this on this robot. We will see the result here. As you can see, you will see the complete JSON object here that you can't see from the Flow Designer. And also, we have added another option here, log debug. If you also select this and run this, we also log the output to the log folder. So let's also run this and see how it works. And when you go to the logs folder here, let's wait this to finish. And the Jarvis robot. Here, the debug takes text file. It has some buffering, so we have to wait a couple of seconds. If we selected the log debug, it should write here. This one. Okay. Here, as you can see, it writes the output to the file. We have also added scopes here. Before this, you only see the output. Now you can find where this debug is. You can rename this, or you can see the full scope here. And another option, maybe you may have missed this. The robot is actually slowed down when you are using Flow Designer. This is to prevent message flooding to our servers or your designer here, or it will slow down a lot. It will use lots of CPU. So we slow down the robot. We do throttling for the debug messages. You don't notice it while using or developing these flows, but in production, it works in full speed. But you can also see that by using the do not attach to designer option here. Now, if you connect this, it will work in full speed, but you won't see the coloring and debug notes here. Let's see how it runs. Before we waited to finish it. Now, as you can see, it finished in under a second, maybe. It ran very fast. Now, let's connect it without this option. And let's continue. So let's jump to, this is actually the hardest part of this webinar, but the examples are actually simple. So we did some parallel processing improvements. It is very hard to create multi-branch flows with Robomotion. If you are not familiar with branches, I will also show them. So let's start with the number 2, 1. Yeah, this one. So as you know, Robomotion does not only run one sequence of automation. So you can open browser, go to a link, download a PDF file, and extract the results and write it to somewhere. This is just one sequence. But with Robomotion, you can also branch and run things in parallel. For example, you can open browser and then open link while running also this branch. As you can see here, we also branch to 3 branches. So this is how we run things in parallel. We can do things in parallel. This is very useful if you are scraping some websites. If you have 10,000 products to scrape with one robot, one branch, it will take a lot of time, but you can use 10 branches or 100 branches. You can open even tens or hundreds of browsers with Robomotion and manage them in your flows. So the problem was it was hard to detect when a branch ends its operation so that you can stop the flow. So if you have hundreds branches, every branch runs differently and you don't know in which state is one of them. Maybe the first one finished first, all the products, the other ones are still scraping. So to do that, you can watch our last year's parallel processing webinar. We showed some ways there. We used some variables and global variables to increment the counters or read the states of the branches. It was very hard to manage. So now we have created a new package that is called weight group. It has 4 nodes. So weight group is, you need to create a weight group if you have multiple branches running and you want to wait for all the branches to finish. You can use weight group node. So it is simple to use. You just create a weight group. The output is just a weight group ID. So you have created a weight group, and then you use weight group add. So it takes the weight group ID created previously by the weight group create node, and you write how many branches you have here. So we have sleep nodes here for fake processing, and we add 2 here for these 2 branches. And the third branch here is weight group weight node. It only takes the weight group ID. Again, very simple inputs. You don't need to change anything here. We just add the delta value here. That is the number of branches we are going to wait. So here with the sleep node, we have check this random box to wait randomly between 1 to 5 seconds. And then after this, we call the wait group done node. Again, there is no option here, just it takes the wait group ID. What it does is it decrements the counter. For example, this was 2. Now, when one of these VG done nodes is executed, it will decrement the counter. And until it reaches to 0, wait group waits for all the branches to finish. So this is how we now manage these manual created branches. I say manual because I can create another branch manually here. The next flow, I will show how to create these dynamically. But here, if you add another branch here, you can do this. You have to increment the delta value here. Now, let's see how this runs. Now we are waiting. This has finished and other one, and wait group wait node continued, and it calls the stuff. If we don't have a wait group wait like node, we have to understand which one of the branches finished, and that is very hard to do. And this package helps us to understand that and wait for all the branches to finish. Now let's continue. Yeah. These 4 nodes are building blocks actually to manage branching. We have another node that was introduced in previous versions of Robomotion, and that is actually built on top of these nodes. So you don't even need to now use wait group create, wait group add, wait group wait nodes. They are all included in fork branch. So you have the options to do this manually or use fork branch. But with fork branch, you have the option to dynamically create the branches. What I mean by that is, now you see there is an inject node here, and there is fork branch node here. As you can see, it creates a wait group ID, like wait group create, and it also creates a branch ID. We will see what it is. And now we also have number of branches, so you can increment this. But we only have one fake process here. It doesn't matter. Fork branch has 2 outputs. So on the top port, it will continue and run here 3 times this branch. So it will fork this branch three times. And when each branch finishes, it will they will call done wait group done node. And when all the branches are finished, fork branch continues from the bottom port here and stops. Let's put also a debug here to see how many times it is run. This branch is run. Let's run this. As you can see, it has run 3 times. Now we are waiting for the randomness, one between 5 seconds, and they all finished. Now here we see the wait group ID. This is similar with wait group create node here, but there is one other output that is branch ID. So we have created this branch ID because in last year's webinars we were using index numbers to follow which branch was running or scraping the products. We have to have a way to understand which branch is working there. So to do that, we create an index and combine it with wait group ID here. So you can use this in here fake process, or you can add a sub flow here. So in this branch, you have this branch ID, and all the other branches have different branch IDs. So you will know which branch you are working in this sequence. Because we don't use only indexes. If we do that, if you add another fork branch here, it will just complicate things. And because of that, we just combine the weight group ID and index. You have to split this value, and then you can get this index. So I will show another way, a practical way, how you can use a fork branch node. So I will show you an example. This is actually a challenge created by Automation Anywhere. So they every year do some competitions called bot games. So they create challenges for that, and this is a perfect challenge for us to test our fork branch node. So I will show you the challenge also. They have this page, and the challenge is you have 12 transactions, and you have to fill these supplier names by using these detail values. They have created a fake bank account here. You have to log in to this bank account, and then you will see something like this. Here, this is the challenge. You have to get these supplier names by using the details here. You can search them, or you can click here and find them. Whatever way you can do, this is the challenge. Just get these supplier names and then write them here. They also added another challenge. This page randomly crashes, so it also makes you to use exception handling. So let's run this flow. What we do here is this subflow actually gets the supplier name. We will share these flows. I won't go into details, but here we have a fork branch. What we will do here is we will create 12 branches to get 12 transactions at the same time. So we will open 12 browsers at the same time, and the main page also will be open. So it will be 13 Chrome browsers to complete this challenge. So let's see how it works. Okay, now the main page has been opened, and now it has started to open all the browsers. Now 12 browsers are opened also. Some of them has started to log in. Let's wait the result. Okay. Now we have finished the challenge in 29 seconds. Not bad. Now I will show you something, the official solution to this challenge. So as you can see, Automation Anywhere's result was 124 seconds. Here, because we have an unfair advantage, we can run things in parallel. We have opened 12 browsers to finish this. But this was run in my laptop. What happens if we run this automation in a powerful server? Let's see the result here. The same flow, you can run this in also your computer. We will share all the flows. Now the flow started. The same flow, just the robot is running on a powerful server. Now 6 seconds, we have finished this challenge. Now let's continue. Here the results. You can also watch the videos later. The machine used here. This was actually a desktop computer, not a fair comparison. But if you run this in a powerful server, you can see the results. So let's continue with bot console. So we have three main products. Flow Designer is for designing your automations, your flows. The admin console is orchestrating your robots, your flows, your schedules, your triggers. This is the management console. These are technical tools for RPA developers, actually. But we have created another tool that is bot console for non-technical users. We have lots of customers from different departments, HR departments, accounting departments. So before bot console, like any RPA product, we were just using shared folders to process tasks. We ask them to drop Excel files to a shared folder from their computer to the shared folder, and the robot will catch that and start running. And another way to start robot, they may email to the robot. We usually ask to open an email address for the robot from the company or customer, and they can email the Excel file to the robot's email, and then robot can trigger. But none of the ways I described here is not interacting or touching the robot. So you don't see the robot. So we have created a solution, a couple of solutions actually, to interact with the robots. One of them was Robomotion forms. We have introduced that before. You can also find videos for Robomotion forms in our YouTube channel. It is actually an public accessible web form. You can enter data there and it can trigger the robot. But with bot console, we can do much more than that, and we will see here now. So before that, I would like to also talk a little about the terminology we use. So software robots in RPA are actually the execution engine. The software runs the flows. When you run this flow runs on the software robot that is connected from your laptop or a VPS or a company server. So we have three types of robots. Development robot is used by the RPA developers to develop these flows. So when you press run, you run the flows on development robots. The development robots cannot be scheduled or cannot watch triggers. This is the difference. So most RPA products gives you some desktop applications and they license the desktop applications. We provide a web application, so you can open as many tabs from here. But the one thing you need is the robot. So we license the robot actually for the RPA developers. And that the development robot is much more affordable than the production robot. The production robot is actually used in production environments. When you finish developing your robot flows and you version and publish them to admin console, you schedule the flows on the production robot. You can't schedule them on development robots. You have to use production robots. So you can schedule them. You can say, run this flow at 9 a.m. and then another flow at 10 a.m. It is like shift planning. It is a digital employee. You can put it in that way, and you can schedule as many flows as you like on the production robot. Also, a production robot can listen triggers. We have 5 different triggers you can watch, and these do not interfere with the flow that the robot is running. So these are watched or listened in the background. You can add as many triggers to a robot. A robot can watch a file system. A robot can watch at the same time, listen the mails, at the same time listen the queue insert operations and other stuff. So you can only do these with the production robots. And lastly, we have introduced application robots. So application robots is what was needed for the bot console or our vision. So we are trying to create a bot store for all the RPA developers. So RPA developers all have different domain expertise, and they can create the automations and then sell them in our bot store. But you'll need a robot to run these automations or flows. So that's when we created application robot. We do this because we wanted the RPA developer to price the automation as much as he or she likes. So it can be $5 or $99 or maybe it can be free. So you can't do this with development and production robots that has different pricing. But with application robots, you can do this. And we will see how these works. The development and production robots can be added from here. If you have the licenses, you can add the development and production robots from admin consoles, robot screen. If you have the licenses, you can add more development robots or more production robots. But you can add application robots from here. We will see how to use application robots in later slides. So what we call bots, that is the name of bot console and bot store. Bots are the pre-built flows or automations for some specific tasks. Like we have introduced outreach video creator bot or crypto trading bot. These are pre-built flows that are running on application robots. These are what we call bots. So a robot runs any flow, but if you create a flow for a specific task, then you can sell it as a bot. We name it bot. So let's see how bot console works. You can turn a flow into a bot by using the bot console, and let's see how. Not this one. Yes. In this example, we are using an input box. We will get a website from the user from this desktop, and we will get the resolutions from the user again. And we will use these to take screenshots of the websites. I didn't use a function node here. I have used a string package here. So we will write the resolutions in this format, and we will have to split the resolutions by the pipe character here. I didn't use function node. I used the split node here. So after splitting with the pipe separator, we will have an array, and we will use the for each here to iterate in this array. So we will iterate in the resolutions. We will provide one website, but we will be able to give 2 or more resolutions to take screenshots. And here I have used the concatenate option here. The open browser can take custom browser options. These are actually Chrome's options that you can provide to Chrome. So one of them is the window size option. If you provide the window size to Chrome, it will open in that resolution. So we will use this feature of Chrome to take screenshots in whatever resolution we like. So also, again, I use concatenate here and JavaScript scope to create the screenshot path. So we have a variable here, base path. This is the folder here, the full path here. This is the base directory, but we will need a file name for the screenshot node here. So we created with the concatenate operation here. So we have, as you can see, we use string interpolation, but not just with variable. We can also use a function here. So we will get this variable and then combine it with the website. We will use, for example, www.robomotion.io and concatenate this string with the message resolution PNG here. Actually, I could have used a sign operation here. There is no need for concatenation, but yeah. So, and then we open the browser with the window size option here. We open the link, the site link we gave from the input box, and we use screenshot. We record the result to path, and then we close the browser and continue with the next resolution. So let's see how this runs. So let's use Robomotion.io. And now here we will provide the resolutions separated with pipe character. And the flow started. As you can see, it opened in resolution, and it will open in another resolution, and then another one, 800 to 600. Now you can see the results here. Okay, I have created this example to show you the current way of creating a flow. So you can create this flow as before from Flow Designer, and then maybe schedule this flow, or you can maybe read from an Excel file to read the sites and the resolutions. This is how we do things currently. Now we will see another version of this flow. Actually, I won't close the previous one to just compare them. Let's open another tab here, and then open the app-in version of this. Yeah. Okay. So there is not a lot of difference here. First, we have removed the inject node because the bot console bots are triggered by app-in node. We will see how they are triggered. We don't need inject node here. All the bots in bot console start with app-in. So we replace the inject with app-in first. And then we don't have input boxes. We won't have input boxes in bot console. So I added an assign node here that will take the values, the site value from bot console. And that will be in this. We will see how this looks like. I put a debug here, and we will see the value, actual value. And then we replace the resolutions the same. It will come from the bot console. So we just replace this part of the flow, and there's not much difference here. Also, we have added an app log. This is the logs we will see in the bot console. So we will see what the bot is doing at that time. We can use app log, and we will see these logs in the bot console screens. So taking screenshot of the site, we are using again string interpolation here to create just one string, and the resolution, the current resolution, it will log these strings in the bot console screen, and the others are same. And at the end, we use app upload node. Here we took the screenshot, and then we will upload this to bot console's storage. We will see you have a storage, an S3 storage for each bot, and you can use app upload for that storage. Now, we also need a way to do this, because you can run this flow in the cloud. So you can use cloud run option. Where will be the screenshot? So you will need some way to upload the result to somewhere, and that is the S3 of the bots. And we will use app upload for that. If you check the public option, you will also have a public URL for that, but we will continue with the private option. So that is what we have changed. This part, edit the log, and then app upload to upload the file. Nothing changed other than that. If you check the variables, I will run this flow in cloud. I will use the cloud run option, and because of that, the cloud run robot has home Robomotion directory. So I changed that base directory with this also. So it is very, very similar. Just the inputs are coming from a different place, and we have added these two nodes. Now let's see how this runs. But now we will have to run this in bot console. We can run this here while we are developing it, but I will show how you run this in bot console. So you have to create a version first and then publish the flow. And then you can go to admin console and here the bot screen. Here we will create the bot. So we are turning a flow into a bot that can be run in bot console. Click here at bot button. So we have two types of bots. We are currently developing a headless bot. Headless bot means it doesn't have any application or UI. We will just provide the inputs, here the site and the resolutions, and it will create the results for us, the screenshot files. So let's name this site resolutions, and then select the site resolutions pin flow, the version, and I have a nice icon for this one here. So this is enough to turn the flow into a bot. You can also, if you are going to run this flow in cloud, you will use the cloud run option. You can pick the CPU or memory for that robot to have. So I will pick this one because Chrome takes lots of CPU and screenshots and it takes time to finish. You can just try and see. For example, for our outreach created bot, we started with two vCPUs, but after adding the rounding effect, it started to lag, and we updated it for vCPU and 8 gigabytes of memory. So how this works, if you have cloud minutes, this option will take 1x minutes. This option will take 2x minutes for every actual minute. This will 3x, this will decrement 4x. So we will start this one, and that's enough for us to create the bot. Now, after creating this, you can go to bot console, and you will see the bot here. When you click here, you will see this screen. So for this bot, we have to create an instance of this bot. So that is where the application robot comes. Let's create an instance. And by clicking here, we have actually created an application robot. So we have used I have 9 application robot licenses. I have used one of them here. If you have multiple bots and you are out of your application robots, you can delete this and then use your application robot license in another bot. But now we are going to use this one. And now we need a way to provide the input parameters. So there was an input box we were using in the desktop, but there is no desktop here. We have to have a way to do this. So here, for this instance, we have a setup option here. This setup screen is dynamic. You can create it as you wish. If your headless bot requires input, you may not require an input. Here we have, we need these inputs, but you may not for your bot. So we need to also add a setup screen here. And you can do that again from this admin console bot screen with this setup option. So here, actually, we have introduced this in Robomotion Forms. Robomotion Forms is actually also dynamic forms you create. The underlying library or the project we use is JSON forms. It is much more detailed, explained in the Robomotion Forms video. You can check that video, but I will just copy paste the JSON object required here. So in this part, we just provide the variables or the inputs you will have. Site is a string, resolution is a string, and this is the layout of this. As I said, you can see the details in the Robomotion Forms video, the same structure is used here. And when you save, now when we go back to this instance, when we press setup, we will see the inputs here. This is just we have created dynamically from the admin console. Now I will write the site here, and then the resolutions. I have saved them somewhere. Yeah, the same input, but now provided from both console. Now our instance is ready to be run. Click this again, this instance, and you have a screen here to run this flow, the bot. So if you press play, you have two options. The cloud run we will use. The desktop is disabled because we haven't connected the robot from our desktop. Now let's rename this robot and see what happens. Let's call this Mark 1. And you go back to admin console robot screen. We before had production and development robots. Now we have an application robot also here because we have created an instance. And this instance has created the application robot for us. If I delete this instance, this robot will disappear. Now, the special thing about this application robots is you can't run any flows on the application robot other than this bot flow. So we have created an site resolutions flow. Let's open that also. So let's open this. Let's open another one, for example, fork branch. And when I press cloud run, I won't see that robot, the site resolutions robot here. I can't run this flow with that because it is only associated with that bot instance. I know the flow because I have created that, and that is this instance, this flow, sorry. And when you press cloud, you will see the robot here. So this application robot can only run this flow. That's but we don't need flow designer here. We will use bot console. Now let's run this. I can also connect this robot from the desktop. Just like an application, the production robot or development robot, I can connect that from my desktop. But I will run this in Cloud Run. That is easier to run. Okay, now it has started. Now, as you can see, these are the app logs here, and the flow, the bot has finished. Now you can go to the history tab here. For this instance, you can have multiple instances. For example, maybe you have a long list of resolutions. You can create another website and another resolutions. You can create more instances and run them in parallel if you like. But we have our instance now, and we have run it once. And when you go to the history tab, you will see the results here. So it was success, and it took 10 seconds to complete. When you click here, you will see the logs also. This is history. If I run this again, it will add another instance here. And when you go to the results tab, you will see the generated files here. I didn't use Flow Designer. I didn't use admin console to run this bot. I just use the bot console. So when a non-technical person comes here, they don't deal with Flow Designer or admin console. They just log into bot console and then see the application here, the bot here, and then they can run this and get the results. So they don't deal with technical details of Flow Designer or admin console, just this one. So let's continue. And we have seen the headless bots. These bots are called headless because they only require inputs and they generate outputs, nothing more. They don't need anything, and you are in bot console to do these. Now we will see another type of bot. Let's go to the other example. So this is a Robomotion assistant flow. This is actually a package you have to install. Right click and install this one, and you will see the package here. Sorry, here, assistant. This is actually not hard to use. You will see the notes, text note. This is a chatbot-like application that we will connect with the bot. You create a flow, and then you can talk with the robot with this Robomotion assistant application. We will see how, and we will understand better when we run this. So here we have the text "Welcome to Robomotion" that will be shown in the chat box, and then we will write "How can I help you?" This works sequentially, so it is no different than the other flows you develop. It is the same. You can use databases, you can open browsers, you can use any packages here, but just with this assistant package, you are interacting with the robot, you are talking with the robot. We will see how in a second. And we have button group to provide choices for the user, and we have switch, and let's see how this works. So here we again created a version and published this. And let's go back to the bot screen and create this bot. We will name it image assistant, and let's add a description: helps removing backgrounds and coloring all photos. We will select the flow. This is app in, and then the flow version. And I again have a nice icon here. So this will be enough. And now let's create this. And when you go back to the bot console, the icon, I hope, will work. Yeah. So we will see the bot here. So we have another bot called Image Assistant. Let's click this one and create an instance. And we don't need a setup here, so just we can run this. Oh, we have missed something. Let's delete this one. This isn't an headless bot, so you can't delete it. You have to delete the instance first, and then delete this one. And let's delete this one and create again. We have created a headless bot. Now uncheck this. Let's fill these again, and then uncheck this. Okay. So if you uncheck this, you will see two other boxes appear. This is the official repository, app repository of Robomotion. So this is like package repository. You don't, you only use the package repository. These are our stable packages. This is actually coming from the admin console repository screen. Let me open another tab. Here from the repository screen, you have a package repository here. This is our stable package repository, and you get the packages from that repository. This is similar. We have created an application repository also. Currently, there is only one application, and that is Robomotion Assistant application. Select that one, and then name your bot, and then add a description. Select the flow, not this one. and then select the version. Again, add your icon. So only difference is this one. This is actually binding an application with the flow you have. So you will have a UI. You will have an application that talks with the flow, with the robot. You can even create your custom applications in the future. We will provide that option, so you can have different types of applications that has a robot backend. And now let's create this. Let's go back to the bot console and refresh this. Now let's create the instance. As you can see, there is a different button appeared here. This will start the application associated with this bot. So that is the Robomotion Assistant application. Let's run this. Again, I will run this in cloud. I want to connect the robot from my desktop. This is easier. Now, when the robot starts, this option is enabled. When you click here, it will open the Robomotion Assistant application. Now, we are actually seeing the flow here. We just showed the welcome to Robomotion message. And how can I help you? It asks, and then the button group is used here. But it is now hard to see what is going on in the flow because we have started the robot from bot console. As an RPA developer, you will first develop the flow from Flow Designer, of course. So you can run this flow from here. But you need to first create this instance and then go back to Flow Designer. Now, instead of bot console, I will start the flow from here. As you can see, the application robot appeared because I have created an instance here. If I delete this, I won't see this in Flow Designer. And select that one and press run. Now, the flow is started, but it is not triggered. So to trigger this, you have to just refresh this page. And it is now, as you can see what's going on. So it is waiting the choice. Let's pick background remover and select. This is actually cool. I will show you how we do this. Yeah, as you can see, the background is removed. So it asks, would you like to continue? Here, we are again waiting for the button group. And now select other one, colorize all photos and upload. As you can see, this is an attend automation. We are interacting with the robot. We are talking with the robot and the flow behind that. Let's pick this one. This is going to colorize this photo. So it is running here. Hope it works. This can take time actually. I will introduce how we do this, but the models behind this AI can take time. Yeah, and it asks, this is fun actually. Let's try another one. Colorize photo and upload another one. The street one. Now, the returned results are downloadable, by the way. We do this with, let's see, this subflow with this assistant download node. So you can download this. So if you click this, you will download the image. As you can see the result. Now, what we have done here is we have created a flow and we can now interact with the robot. For example, before this, you provide a way for the customers to send an Excel file via email or drop that in a folder. And if that has a problem, the automation fails. just fails. But with assistant, you can ask them to upload images, upload Excel files here, and then you can check and return the results for them. So this page is actually dynamic. You create it with this flow. It is actually no different than any flow you have developed. You can use every node here, and this runs sequentially. And the other good thing about this, you can run multiple sessions of that chat. So if you have multiple users from a department, they can run this. They can go to this link in different computers, and it will run on just one application robot. But because we can run things in parallel, it will just work. So you can run as many tabs you like, and it will work. So yeah, let's continue. Another option we have added is auto start. So as you saw, we are using Cloud Run here. With Cloud Run, you are actually using your Cloud Run minutes. So this is fun to run the assistant bot in the cloud, but it takes your minutes. So you can't leave this assistant as is, because tomorrow it will eat all your minutes. So to solve this, we have created a new feature, and that is auto start. So with this edit in advanced here, you have auto start on cloud option. Click here and edit. Now, this is actually the job of the flow designer, the RPA developer here. If you stop the flow here, you won't see the instance running anymore. As you can see, it stopped. But before this, when you try to go to the link, it won't open. It will fail because there is no robot. But now with the auto start, it will start the robot first and then run this automation. So if, for example, you can add something here. You can add an inject node, for example, that will, for example, after 300 seconds, you can call stop. This won't be very graceful stop option, but after, for example, just running one session or after a timeout, for example, you need to handle the timeouts also with assistant. All the nodes here has timeouts, 30 seconds. This, for example, text has to render the text seen here in a website. So after 30 seconds, you may close this one and this won't work. So it needs a timeout for that. So after that timeout, you can catch that and stop that, for example. And also the inputs also have timeouts that are, I have the default value is 30 seconds. I have increased this one. So you need also to also add a timeout to get response from the user. The user can leave this screen and then go away. So your Cloud Run minutes also will be used. So after 300 seconds, it will throw an exception. You can catch that, and then you can stop, for example. So this logic is left to the developer. But what you do here is you stop the flow, and then when someone goes to the link, for example, it is running, it will run. Yeah, but if I stop this and then refresh that, it will cold start and then run again. So this is a nice way to run the robots. So let's continue. Now the bot store, as I told you, we are trying to create a bot store. We are trying to create a bot store, and what we try to do is give an option to every RPA developer to create their own bots and put it in our bot store. Now we have started doing this. It is not publicly available yet, but we are working on it, and in Q4 we maybe give this option to everyone. We are just using it and releasing our bots here. So to do this, to publish your bots, I don't know why this is running. Let's stop this. Okay. So to publish your bots, you have to go to admin console, and for example, you would like to sell this bot or you would like to give this for free. You can go to this publish option here. It is similar to Play Store or iOS Store. You have the options here. You have to fill all the options here. You can add. You can also put a one-time price for that, or you can ask for a monthly payment for your bots, and the icons, the screenshots, all of them. When you submit this, it will come to our review team that we are also working on to create these processes, and then after reviewing it, it will be in the bot store. And for every update, it will be reviewed, because this is very important. If you have a flow and you publish it to bot store, it would be dangerous for us to leave that to the developer. So we have to review every flow, because the flows are running on customer machines. If you prefer that, by the way, if you don't want your bot to run on customer machines, you have also another option. In the edit box here, you can select only cloud. With this option, the bots will only run in the cloud, and the users cannot run or connect the application robots of these bots instances from their computer. So you also have an option for that. So as I said, we are currently working on the bot store to add more and more bots here. We have some created, and we are still testing. We are actually busy with customer projects currently, but most of them are ready. Just the last tests, and then we will release these bots also for everyone to use. And another option, of course, not for the RPA developers, but for the bot users, they can just go to, without using Flow Designer. If he or she is non-technical and just want to use the bot, they don't need Flow Designer admin console. When they log into Robomotion workspace, we have changed the default application to bot console also. You can go to bot store and click here to get a bot from our bot store. So this is what we have created before. This is Outreach Video Creator Bot. Just you will create an instance, and it has its own setup. And let's see how this works. I have also the video URL. You need to provide the video for this bot to work. You have to provide a CSV file for this bot to work. And then this Loom cookie is optional. After creating the result, it can upload the result to Loom. I won't provide that. And now I have this instance created, and I can run this. I just added this bot from bot store, just added a few inputs, and now I am running this bot. This will take a minute to finish. I have decreased the website. The CSC only has one website. What this bot does is it opens the provided website and then opens the website in Chrome, and then downloads your video and puts an overlay video at the bottom right screen and records whole screen. So what this does is it creates a personalized video for your prospects. You can email the results to your prospects, and they will just see that you visited their website and recorded yourself while visiting the site. So this is a personalized video creator. Now it has finished. When you go to the results, you will see the results here. And as you can see, this is the video I have shared, and it creates a personalized video for that prospect's website. Now let's continue. And we have some new packages also. We have been working on actually the web automation, the image automation, and Windows automation packages for a long time. I won't go into details of this because it will take a lot of time. We will create videos for each of them, but I will talk a little what they do and what are they used for. So web automation is built on the Selenium project. So it is using the latest technology, we may say, and it is created to support all the browsers. So we had some projects that were using legacy browsers like Internet Explorer or Edge browser. We couldn't manage them before, but with this web automation package, you can use you can automate with Internet Explorer, Edge, Opera browser, Brave browser, all the browsers you can automate. And also we have added some new nodes. These are very similar with the browser package we have, but you have some helper nodes that was asked in the community a lot. It is not seen here, but we have, for example, page source. You can get the page source with the node. You can get the URL. You can get the title. Again, you can do this with the run script node before, but that required coding. So we have added some helper nodes to do these without coding, and you can test these nodes as you like. The web automation package may have a bug recently introduced by the Chrome driver. We are still working on that. It may not work, but this week we will also solve that. The Chrome driver 115 has changed the download links, and all the automation software were using the old links and couldn't automatically update the Chrome driver, and they fail. This may still have that problem. We have solved it with the robot, but we will also solve it with web automation. But you can use this package to automate other browsers other than Chrome. So image automation is also a new package, we may say. This is introduced to automate RDP sessions or very legacy applications that can't be automated with browsers. So we have seen many legacy applications in actually enterprises, and you can't run them with Chrome. Actually, you have to run with Internet Explorer, and they are using very old technology like ActiveX, and you can't use again HTML web automation there. So you need another way. You can use image automation. So with this package, you can also automate Linux or Mac applications by using the image nodes. We will create videos for these, how to use them, but you may just try them. For example, start with click image. It is easy to use. You just capture a screen from your desktop, and then pick a spot to click, and then when you run the flow, it will find that image you captured, a region image captured on the screen, and click there. So this way you can automate desktop applications on Mac or Linux or Windows RDP sessions or legacy applications. Windows automation also we have rewritten from scratch. We have tried before and failed actually. Now this package is working very well. We have also started creating projects for our customers, and we have been developing this and improving this. You can also use this package to automate Windows applications, desktop applications. There is a video I shared in this slide. You can also use this and then see how it works. It will give an idea to you, and you can use. Another package we have added recently is Plugger AI. This is a very cool startup. Actually, the founder is a friend of mine, and they are they have created a way to share these models, and you can use these models to do many different things. Let's go to their website and see. They have actually a very good website. They're actually rebranding. They previously they were called Cameralize, and now they are rebranding to Plugger AI. But they have categorized many different AI models. Actually, there are very cool models. From here, you can see. I have used in the webinar colorized old photos. So you can use these models and then, for example, create images for your blog post, for example. That's an there are very good models here that are collected from different places, and it is very easy to use. For example, let's try this one. You can test all of them. Yeah, here a cabin in the woods. Let's try. Now this model is in warm state. If it is not used for a long time, it will take more time to start. But as you can see, this is very fun to use. You can tinker with different models. They are adding more and more models every day. So we have created a package for this. You can go to the packages, and this Plugger package here, Plugger AI, and when you add it to your workspace, you will see all the categorizations, image generator. You can also search these models in internet. You can find different prompts. They have image generators, image in painting, colorize all photos. You can just see all the models from here, and you can use the ones you like in your flow. I have also an example, a very basic example. So I opened it again, the shared one. Let's open the flow from here. We have a config here. I just create a full path for the generated file. So I use timestamp and generated prefix, and again use input box to write the prompt, and then use the connect node. You will need the credentials from them. They are third-party service, of course, like OpenAI. You subscribe to their service, and then you get your API key, and then use that API key in the credential section here, and you can pick any model. I pick Epic Realism, and then after this node runs, they will return you the URL of the generated image. You have to download it. I have used net download here, and let's see how this works. I have also prepared a prompt before. Yes, I find it. Let's run this. So here, let's write a beautiful cabin house in the woods. Night, moon is shining, sky and stars are clear. Okay. It will be generated here. this one. So let's run this again. You can change the prompt, of course, but I will use the same one. You can try other prompts. Yeah, they are different. Every run will generate different images with different random seeds. And this is all the Plugger AI. It's very cool. So lastly, I want to talk about our upcoming features for the next release. We are working on the web recorder. It is almost finished. This is again another attempt for us to decrease the coding. With the web recorder, you will be able to scrape websites without coding easily. You will be able to scrape tables or scrape lists with the web recorder. It will generate subflows with the web automation package. We choose web automation because you may want to pick different browsers, and we will use the web automation. The generated flows from the web recorder will be from web automation, and everything will be open. So that there may be run scripts or functions, but if you are technical enough, you can just edit them or change them. You'll be able to change them. But if you are not technical, the generated subflows will be enough for you. And we are also working on add-ons. This is a cool project for us. So as you know, RPA is a toolbox. We have integrations with many different systems, as like Plugger AI, OpenAI, or proxies or capture servers. But for all these services, you need to register, sign to their services, and then get API keys and then use them in our tool. So we are creating add-ons, an abstraction layer to all those services. So we will have proxy credits. You can buy proxy credits from us and then use Robomotion proxy service, the option, and you will just be charged and invoiced by Robomotion. So you won't be dealing with every service. Of course, there will be a margin for us to earn some money, but this will be also helpful. For example, a very good proxy needs lots of starting price. It may start from $300 or maybe $600 for millions of requests that you don't need. You will be able to, for example, just buy 10,000 proxy requests from us, and you will be able to use them. So this will also help you to reach those services in a much affordable way, and only you will buy the required amount for that service. Also for CAPTCHA and AI credits, we will provide the services. We also need them because we are creating more and more bots. These bots will require proxy, CAPTCHA, and AI credits like Plugger AI or OpenAI credits. We can't ask the user to buy credits from or tokens from those external services to use our bot. We have to provide them a seamless way to just add the bot and run them. So we are also working on a different pricing, maybe a user pricing other than the developer pricing, because the users won't need production robots, development robots, application robots. They won't even know what they don't need to know what they are. They will just buy the bots. So with these user pricings, we will provide AI credits in the pricing, maybe proxy or CAPTCHA, whatever is needed by the bot. So this will be seamless experience for the users. And lastly, we are working on the bot console mobile app. You will be able to use your bots from your mobile phone. you can use your own bots created in your workspace, or you can use the bots from the bot store, like CryptoBots, for example. You may need to use the see the results from your mobile phone. And thank you. That is the end of our webinar. But if you have time, we can have some Q&A session. There are actually some questions asked. I may have to take a look back to them, or if you have questions, I would like to answer them. I'm just checking the comments. Les Henderson asks, how opening lots of browsers can be faster than scraping the info? I can actually show this in the screen, I believe. Yeah. So yes, this is faster because in the automation anywhere case, they has to actually um, get the results one by one. So they open the browser, go log into the bank, and get the supplier name for transaction one. And once finished, they have to do this again for transaction two, transaction three, and four. And this takes time because it works sequentially. But what we show in the webinar, we can do this in parallel. So opening 12 browsers at the same time, this takes much shorter to finish because we get the results from all of them at once and then can submit the result. I'm checking. Chris asks hardware trigger. So hardware trigger also we have added recently. It is for, let me show you the triggers here. It is actually, it can watch the CPU and memory and storage resources by the robot. So for example, you can say if CPU usage is about 90 for 5 minutes or for the last 15 minutes, this can trigger a flow. I don't know what you can do this, or this was asked by an RPA partner from us, and we have added this feature. They were using this in their flows and in other competitor products. So they asked us, and we have added this feature also. You can watch the disk space used, and you can just send alerts, for example, from flow. So the pricing will be like this. We will have a pricing for the users, for example, $29 per month to have 5 application robots, for example. And you will need application robots to run any bot. So you need to create instances to run any bot. For example, for this outreach video creator bot, I can provide a list for shoemakers. Uh, shoemakers and it will run. It takes time to run. If you have 100 prospects, you have to wait all of them to finish. But if I create another instance and give another list to this instance, uh, restaurant owners, for example, you can run this in parallel, but you are using different application robot licenses here. You'll need this. So the pricing for the application robots is separate from the bots. The bot pricing is by the RPA developer. RPA developers can decide the price. They can put here for free, or they can just ask for one-time fee, or they can ask for a monthly fee. So we'll provide all these options for the RPA developers. So yeah, I'm just skipping some, and yeah, I think we have done. Thank you again for attending this webinar. Hope to see you in our next webinar. Thank you. Bye.